She did it.
All right, it's 6:30, 6:31. Call this meeting to order. Everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
We're not using that tonight?
No, the TV?
Yeah.
No, it's not on for, we set this up just for the budget advisory for,
Yeah, okay.
no, we're not doing that. It's scheduled.
Oh, that's a recurring, I have to kill it.
All right, agenda review. Anything?
I'm all set, thank you.
I think I'm good.
Hunter?
No, thank you.
I'm good too. Next up, action item. Approval of the amended Warrant Article 6.
Let me set it up.
Everyone's had a chance to read it, understand what it does. Basically, we're changing it from a $7 million total amount to $8,651,000 with $4,651,000 to be raised from private donations, public and/or private grants, or other sources aside from municipal taxation. And we are removing the requirement that we would not bond until we had the match in place. I think that pretty much covers it. Does anyone want to make a motion on this article?
I'll make a motion that we accept the amended article as submitted.
That we recommend it?
We recommend it. Excuse me.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? All right, what else we got on the agenda here? Yeah, next item. Do you have something else?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Next item is adjournment.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Before you do,
Not all at once.
Oh, wait a minute, go ahead.
Public participation.
so what happens if you cannot fundraise the gap and the bookends that you've taken out,
Mm-hmm.
allow the project to go on with what you have? And if fundraising is not successful, we pick up the change at the end. I'm afraid that is going to be fatal.
You mean if we don't go through the project? The intent is to go through with the project.
No, that's not what he's saying.
I'm saying that I don't think you get approval on it.
Who's going to pick up the shortfall?
No matter how it's done, the gap, as the project goes on, probably will narrow up.
Mm-hmm.
But if it doesn't
Doesn't meet,
hit
yeah.
the ceiling, then legally, because you have made this decision that you just made, we're on the tab. We're on it. We've got to pay it. And I don't think that's your intent. But that's a lot of money to raise. That's almost as much. That's almost as much as you raised this time. Now, maybe you know something that you ought to say. Maybe he knows something he ought to say, that a couple of big people have pledged more money later on. They should be asked if they would come forward, because if it's left to the reader to make a decision, I don't think it's going to happen. And I will admit, I will not vote for it with it wide open like that, because I cannot tell what the real impact is in the end. But I won't. I will not oppose it.
Hunter?
I don't think that's how bond counsel or I would read this, based on my experience with such things. You are authorizing to raise and appropriate the $8,651,000. However, the very next sentence says $4,651,000 to come from private donations. So if you do the math, you've limited your bond to 4 million.
Right.
What will happen, practically speaking, is if this is passed, we would authorize Breadloaf to go forward with the next level of assessment. They would complete the construction specifications, put the project out to bid. We would get actual bid numbers, which would then dictate how much of the 8,651,000 we would
Right.
use.
What the actual cost
Right.
would be.
And so under no circumstances, I don't believe, under no circumstances could you ever float a bond for more than $4 million.
No, we don't have.
Oh, no, I don't,
Period.
yeah,
There's no
I would agree
authorization.
wholeheartedly with that,
Yes.
but it is gonna worry people about the gap. You know, are we gonna be able to close that gap?
But this project is gonna come in at, well, that's, and so once we have the real number, then it's gonna be incumbent upon us to at least cover the gap between 4 million and whatever the real number turns out to be, the final number turns out to be.
Who's
And I
us?
could, and I,
Who is us?
this board, and I would not venture, I wouldn't set 1 foot out there to float this until you know what the real number is. I disagree with some of the positions that have been previously espoused, because I in my career, I've never floated a bond until you know what the real number is.
Sure.
The real number. Now, I've seen other places do it differently, and you end up with excess cash, and you borrow too much, which in my view is an abomination, because you shouldn't be going out and taking out a 20-year bond for money you don't need. So if you could over borrow, and so I wouldn't borrow
Sure.
until the whole thing's over, and
Yeah.
and you know exactly what the number is.
Yeah.
So I understand Mr. Spalding's perspective on this, but practically speaking, that's just not the way we do it.
Yeah.
At some point, could we ask Breadloaf to restructure the design?
Yeah, absolutely.
To make it
It's wide
come
open.
into where,
Yeah, but I would not, and not that this means anything necessarily, but I would not bring this to you and say, okay, we're ready to go, until
Until we
I
know,
got it in the bank.
yeah. I know.
Because it would be
Okay.
irresponsible to do that otherwise.
Yeah.
Paul, how much money is left from the 200,000 that was originally approved for Breadloaf's work?
50?
Yeah, we were about 49, and then I don't know what they've charged us for the couple of updates they've done. So
Yeah.
we've got at least 45, if not.
So there's already money that's been approved that could be utilized to bring it, you know,
Right.
this
So,
article passes, there's funds available without even touching any of this
Right.
to basically bring it to the, you know, pretty
Close, maybe. But I mean, it would be professionally, in my opinion, for me anyway, to bring such a proposal to you and to go forward. And a bank is going to look at this and say, okay, well, give us the whole picture.
Mhm.
They're going to want to see the whole thing, you know. And not only that, and maybe I'm just too conservative, but I wouldn't do it until the money's in the bank and the checks have cleared. All the donations collected, you know, the heck with, you know, verbal representations. There's a check cleared. We do that now. I mean, with people just making small donations to things, we look for here's the check, okay, put it in the bank. The check clear? Yeah, it did. Okay, we're good. That would just be irresponsible in my view. But
So you wouldn't start until my check clears.
right, yeah. I mean, but could somebody do it differently? Maybe. I don't know.
John?
Notice it. Your 5.7 should be a top shelf. Put it way up top. On your board, okay?
This one.
5.7.
he's doing business,
Yeah, he's talking to somebody.
yeah.
So anyway,
Sorry. I unmuted instead of muted.
I mean, you have a not to exceed number for the whole project, which is a little bit of a misnomer as well. Because theoretically, let's say it came in $50,000 higher than the 8,651, and you were able to fundraise another $50,000, you already have the authorization to expend unanticipated revenues, so you could theoretically spend that as well.
There
But
was also a good chunk of money in there for contingencies too.
there's a lot of money in there. It's 7.5% on the construction side.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like $500,000 is contingency.
It's a lot of, yeah, there's a lot of that. And because it's a design build, we can tailor this project any way we want. We're gonna go through this. When the bids come in, we're gonna be able to say, no, up, down, yes, no, we want that, we want this one. We're doing the same thing on the Riverbend Pump Station. When we get the next proposal from our engineers, they're gonna say, do you want a rep pump, do you want a this or that or this, and they're gonna have the prices for it. We can tailor the budget to say, no, we don't want the Cadillac pump, we want, Ford pump is good, at less price, and we can tailor make the budget to fit. And only then, when you have the property owner's consent, do the bids become, hard, so to speak. So, I just don't see it happening. But that's my opinion.
Keep in mind that people are voting on what they read.
Yeah, I understand,
And
but-
their interpretation without your explanation.
Yeah, well, I guess that's, and this, no, never mind, well, that's why I'm not a big fan, and this may upset somebody, but I'm not a big fan of SB1 either. Because of that reason, because you can't
Can't do
really
it,
have
yeah.
these conversations, right?
agree with you.
That's just my own personal opinion.
But it's a lot of work to do. There's
For
a lot
this?
of work to do for this.
Yeah, if this passes, it's gonna be,
I mean, to get it to pass.
it's gonna be, yeah, but aside from that, I mean, we're gonna have to come up with another $2 million. Can we do it? I believe we can. Yeah, but it's gonna, I know where it's gonna land. And I got enough, so, but it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and we'll do as we're instructed to do.
Okay.
All right, there's a motion to adjourn.
So, yes.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. All right, and BAC meets in 15 minutes.